This week, we will be featuring a series of stories focused on the auto industry. In our first installment, we'll see how China is playing a role in reviving the once bankrupt U.S. auto industry. Michigan's manufacturing belt is actually home to one of the largest Chinese industrial investments in the U.S., one that actually helped turn around one auto parts maker. CCTV's Craig Morrow has this special story.
Power steering systems come off the factory line in Saginaw, Michigan. This is the headquarters of Nexteer, a 100-year-old company in Michigan's automotive manufacturing heartland. And for the past year and a half, a Chinese-owned enterprise. Beijing-based Pacific Century Motors bought the struggling parts maker from General Motors in 2010.
With the funding of a new owner and with the support of many new customers, we emerged from bankruptcy and through a sale to PCM with a big backlog of business. In the last 2 years, we've booked about $10 billion lifetime revenue. We're about a $2 billion company presently.
Nexteer now represents the single largest Chinese investment in the U.S. auto industry. This plant produces about 900 electric power steering systems every day. And it's one of 20 Nexteer factories that are spread around the world and that employ nearly 10,000 people. Nexteer is Saginaw's largest industrial employer. It had been losing money and probably would have closed if GM had not found a buyer.
If we'd lost Nexteer, we would have lost, first of all, about 4,000 jobs in the county, and I think a big part of our soul.
Many small Michigan cities like Saginaw have been on the ropes for decades as U.S. car makers declined and jobs vanished. The U.S. auto industry now appears to be bouncing back from the most recent recession, and more foreign investment is expected, including from China.
Previously, there was a reluctance on both sides, perhaps, for the Chinese company to take a very dominant position with respect to the ownership. Now I think there's more of an openness on both parties to work together, and I think from an industry perspective, there's a lot more comfort.
The development of fuel-efficient, electronically controlled power steering systems is expected to fuel much of next year's growth in the coming years. In fact, the prospects look so good that last October, the company announced a $150 million investment in its Saginaw operations. Craig Morrow, CCTV, Saginaw, Michigan.